Welcome to The Explainer. Today, I'm going to be your calm mentor, and we are treating this session as your personal financial first aid manual. If you're just starting to take control of your money, take a deep breath. We're going to be drawing from Steve Green's incredibly practical book, Financial Health in 30 Steps, From Debt Chaos to a Balanced Budget. And listen, instead of aiming for absolute perfection right out of the gate, we're going to focus entirely on immediate stabilization. We just need to stop the bleeding.
So treat this explainer like a step-by-step treatment plan. Here are our first aid instructions. First, we'll unpack the avoidance loop. Then, the bathtub metaphor, plugging those money leaks, setting up a 14-day firewall, building an automation shield, and finally, shifting from fear to self-trust. Following these instructions is going to immediately reduce your anxiety and start building up your financial confidence. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The avoidance loop and understanding financial stress. Okay, before we even look at a single number, we really need to validate the fear you might be feeling. If logging into your banking app literally makes your stomach drop, I want you to know that emotional avoidance is not a personal character flaw. It's just a totally normal anxiety response. The loop goes like this. You feel overwhelmed, so you avoid looking at your accounts. And sure, that brings some temporary relief, but then you miss a deadline or payment. Boom, fees appear. Now your financial stress spikes even higher, which, you guessed it, only increases your need to avoid it again. Avoiding reality temporarily soothes that anxiety, but ultimately, it creates a massive amount of chaos.
A participant from Green's book honestly put it so perfectly. They said, "I feel like I've been robbed by my own account." And wow, isn't that relatable? Those invisible fees just running in the background while we look the other way, they have this painful compounding effect. In fact, this participant lost hundreds of dollars simply by avoiding the reality of their statements.
Section 2. The bathtub metaphor, securing financial stabilization. Look, forget about building the perfect color-coded budget spreadsheet that looks amazing on some financial influencer's page. We are not doing that right now. Right now, it's strictly about stopping the bleeding. The intimidating fantasy of a perfect spreadsheet has to give way to practical, urgent reality. Think about it. We're in the emergency room, saving the patient. We're not scheduling elective plastic surgery.
Think of it like this. If your bathtub is overflowing all over your bathroom floor, you don't hop in your car and drive to the hardware store to buy a fancy new designer faucet, right? No. You focused entirely on turning off the water and pulling the drain plug. Your finances work the exact same way. Before you worry about complex, long-term wealth strategies, you just have to stop the water.
Section 3. Plugging leaks and finding the drain. So, where is the water going? There are 3 typical money leaks you need to check your bank for immediately. First, forgotten recurring fees. Second, impulse spending, like ordering overpriced food delivery just because you're exhausted after work. And third, overdraft or penalty risks. And remember, we're looking at these as predictable stress behaviors. They are absolutely not moral failures.
Here is an incredibly simple 10-minute exercise you can do today. Open your banking app and review just the last 30 days. Do this with zero self-judgment. Pretend you're a detective at a crime scene. Just circle the predictable leaks and choose your top 3 to fix immediately. That's it.
Now, to avoid getting overwhelmed by this process, I highly recommend the one-cut strategy. Just cancel one subscription today. Why only one? Well, it prevents that awful feeling of total deprivation, but it instantly shows you how easy it is to turn an expense into instant savings. Honestly, it's kind of like an adult treasure hunt where you instantly recover your own lost money.
Speaking of hidden free trials, one reader perfectly captured the absolute absurdity of it all, joking, "I'm basically sponsoring the entire internet." I love that, because a little humor gives us some distance, right? While perfectly pointing out how crazy it is to pay for services we completely forgot even existed in the first place.
Section 4. The 14-day firewall, protecting against new damage.
Okay, so you've plugged a leak. Now we need a safety barrier. The 14-day money firewall is incredibly effective for this. It's a short-term, highly specific guardrail that blocks your most common debt triggers by drastically reducing decision fatigue. Instead of endlessly asking yourself, "Can I buy this?" every single day, you just commit to a simple rule. For example, using your card exclusively for gas and groceries for 2 weeks. It's just 14 days, but it completely resets your spending momentum.
Section 5. The automation shield, moving from manual triage to proactive care. You see, relying on constant decision-making is exactly why strict diets and rigid budgets usually fail. Financial safety isn't this
endless, white-knuckled battle of willpower against your own temptations. It really isn't. It's about proactively designing a safe environment where the right choices just happen, almost entirely on autopilot.
This is actually a defined concept called choice architecture. It's simply the way environments and systems naturally shape human decisions. By setting up these automated systems, you're basically hiring a free, invisible assistant whose only job is to shield you from unnecessary mistakes.
So let's build your anti-chaos shield right now. Set up automatic minimum payments. Park a $50 emergency buffer in your checking account. And most importantly, turn on low balance bank alerts. Getting a simple text message warning you about a low balance builds this immense sense of proactive control. It drastically reduces your daily money stress because you know exactly where you stand, long before disaster strikes. Section 6. Fear to self-trust. The deep psychological payoff.
To understand why this feels so good, let's talk about loss aversion. This is actually a Nobel-winning behavioral principle. It explains why proactively avoiding a financial loss gives us far more emotional relief and peace of mind than desperately chasing after massive financial gains.
The research shows that losses hurt us at least twice as much as equivalent gains feel good. Twice as much. This perfectly explains why simply preventing a $35 late fee removes so much crushing anxiety from your life. Stopping the loss of your money acts like a powerful sedative for our brains. It just calms everything down. The huge takeaway from all of this is that small successes build self-trust. Preventing mistakes by setting up those alerts and plugging those leaks creates a proactive, totally safe environment. And that is exactly how financial fear magically transforms into confident budget management. You finally begin to genuinely trust yourself with your own money. I want to leave you with the really provocative question to reflect on today. If your finances were a system, what is the weakest point right now? Use these first aid tools we talked about to plug your leaks, strengthen your environment, and stop fearing your own bank account. You have absolutely everything you need to take control today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and good luck.